as the internet took lead, everyone had to turn to it for like motivation and guidance, etc. Right? Now, career shaping can be severely impacted by the right guidance, right? And this is something I think we all realize, because Googling what placements are coming up, what interviews are going up. This was something that, became a very crazy thing that was going on. So because this was happening, with this in mind, 6 chapters of ACM India, we have ACM SNDT, ACM PICT, ACM Manipal, ACM WSRM, ACM DYPIEMR, and ACM RAIT. We decided that, we keep having these individual sessions in our schools and colleges with our alumni, trying to, help everyone and guide them with their own experiences. But there are so many well-known faces, these assets of India, who have shaped their career and done, path-breaking things. Why don't we get them together and have a gathering of these outstanding leaders in various domains? With that, the idea of Gold was born, and we present to you the very first iteration of it. Today, for our very first day, we have Mr. Arsh Goyal. I sat down yesterday and I'm like, okay, what do I do for Arsh's introduction? And I was just going through his YouTube and his, everything about him on Google and LinkedIn. And my God, the list does not end. So Arsh, please, excuse me if I missed something important. I have tried, compiling everything you've done into one short paragraph. Arsh Goyal currently is a senior software engineer at Samsung, though very famously known for his YouTube channel. He had passed out of NIT Jalandhar in 2021. He had done his BTech in electronics and communication, but that was not it. He also won the gold medal for his BTech in ECE. Arsh happens to be a technology enthusiast, and he has, tried and dabbled in various technologies. He says that his passion is to, build technologies that can have viable, impact on human life, that can actually change human life, which is amazing. I think most of us get into tech and none of us know what we're doing with it. So just, that streamlined vision is something that Arsh has had. Apart from this, Arsh has participated in so many hackathons and competitions. He has totally led the engineering life of doing, academics and everything else. He has also won a lot of these competitions. He has also worked at ISRO and at CodeChef, and has currently about 60,000 plus YouTube subscribers. Arsh, a very, very warm welcome to you. We are so thrilled to have you on board, and we are so excited to see how this session goes. Welcome, Arsh.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Satakshi, for a great introduction. And thank you so much for the entire team for organizing this super amazing event. So excited to be here, talking to you, talking to people, answering the questions. And that's something that I believe would add value to you as well as to your audience. So super excited once again to be here.
Thank you so much, Arsh. All right, we'll get into the session. To begin with, I'll quickly introduce what the FAANG is, which the session is entirely about. So Arsh has, done quite a few YouTube videos on this specific sector, and also about, companies and placement and internships. So I think that is what we'll be focusing on. We'll be harnessing Arsh's, knowledge base from that. So the big tech, also known as the tech giants, big four or big five, it's a name given to the presently 5 largest, most dominant and most prestigious tech industry companies of the United States, but also elsewhere. So these 5 mega giants are the most successful companies in the American stock market currently, and they comprise of Facebook, which is now known as Meta. Then you have Amazon, you have Apple, you have Netflix, Google, which is now Alphabet. So these companies have changed the definition of interacting, socializing, shopping, entertainment, and so much that everybody has these companies on their lips today. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody wants to be placed here so that their portfolio can increase in terms of size, dynamic, and just most importantly, these names, they add so much value to the CV these days. So what is FAANG all about? What should we be doing to for it and, to know so much more about it. Let's begin with the session. Over to you, Sayam, to start with the questions. Arsh, you're not, apologies. Sayam, you're not audible. Not audible. I will take on till your mic starts working. To begin with, Arsh, do you want to give an introduction of yourself? I hope I've covered most of what was required, but just a brief about, what you want to focus in on this session and everything for our audience, who, by the way, audience, we will constantly be monitoring the live chat. So please feel free to, drop in your questions. We have compiled every single thing that you had sent. So we will be asking those questions. But, as and when Arsh speaks, if you have specific questions, please do put those up as well. Arsh, over to you.
Yeah. So, hey everyone, this is Arsh Goyal. I'm currently working as a senior software engineer at Samsung. Along with that, I just recently graduated from NIT Jalandhar. I'm from the batch of 2021, passed out from electronics and communication, but have more inclination towards computer science and subjects. Throughout my college life, have been into different, like I've tried out everything, be it some international internship at Tokyo, be it internship with a government organization like ISRO. So like all kind of experiences are there in my plate, and like I have been able to get to different domains, like trying out with a group of people, participating in hackathons, participating in different coding competitions, then coming up with the YouTube channel, guiding people, like the impact we are creating along with the community of around 60,000 people that we have created in this past 1.5 years. So that is something that I believe is going to have some super great impacts. So along with that, like I like love to explore, love to travel, and have my like different technologies. If we talk about Android, web, or machine learning, so I have my hands on all these technologies. I've tried all of them at some point of my life. So that's why I can speak about any of these, or I can like tell about what all things are necessary, or how can people prepare for such domains. Along with that, today's session, if I talk about particularly like about off campus, or about how to get into FAANG. So not just FAANG, but it's like kind of an acronym. It's more importantly how to prepare yourself. Like the end goal can be any, it's not just FAANG, it can be anything. There are a lot of companies who are well recognized as FAANG, who are even more, like if we talk about in the terms of compensation, if we talk about in terms of work-life balance or anything, there are companies which are better than FAANG. So it might be a misnomer, but still, like the main motive of this session is going to be how to make yourself eligible, how to prepare yourself for these companies. Like I love talking to people, I love talking to students here and there, like have given more than around 60-70 sessions in different colleges.
Wow.
And so super excited to be here. Like there are around 6 colleges who have combined up for this great initiative. So kudos to you as well for taking initiatives, organizing such events for your students, so that they understand. Like their major thing is awareness. The lack of awareness is what hinders them from progressing, hinders them from knowing different things. So this awareness, creating this awareness is very important. So I believe these type of sessions can help to increase that kind of awareness. So yeah, like super excited for the session, and taking all your questions that you have. Yeah.
That's great. I hope I'm audible now, Shatakshi.
Yes.
Perfect. Arsh Goyal name is enough, I guess. This introduction was just for an official purpose, but what I know about Arsh is people look up to him and prefer whatever he says. People follow it because yes, he has gone through that journey, and people have value for his words. Let's talk about even Telegram community. That community is much more stronger than any other platform, because whatever opportunities are put out there, whatever things or suggestions or values are that are put out by us, people have something in mind and get benefited through it. So yes, let's begin with the questions we have. we all are in our like second years, first years, or third years. We are from third years. Some will be in fourth years. Will be watching. Uh, these years of graduation is just about figuring out your future path or career path or future life, what you want to do after graduation. So maybe many of them are great into tech, or maybe they have great internships with them right now, but they are even not sure what to do after graduation. So how did you make your decision of what you wanted to do after graduation, and how did that plan of action went? Because it starts from when you enter your college and when you step out of your college. So entire 4-year journey is what you do after graduation. So I'll be our audience will be glad to hear what that path of action was.
So yeah, so if I talk about what to choose or what should be exactly your career after 4 years of graduation, so that is something that is a very daunting question. Like if somebody asks you in your first year, second year, like what are you planning to do after you graduate, or like your parents or your relatives ask, what are your plans after this BTech or this degree? So there was no clue, like didn't have any clue that I would be into software engineering at all. When I came to my first year of college, there was like, I went on to explore each and everything. I explored software engineering. I went on to college clubs. I was a part of almost all the societies. I have been into like, I've tried almost everything in my first year. So that's why we say that first year is a time when you can come and explore. So basically, you get to understand like what you are really interested in. So there were a lot of my friends who were exploring in the first year. They went into different fields. Somebody was very interested in UI UX designing, so he or she went into product design. Someone was very interested in robotics. So like he, throughout his college life, he was building some amazing projects on hardware, on IoT, on robotics. So he's working with the robotics company. And like in my first year, if I talk about, I have tried out dramatics also. I have tried out like I have been speaking on stage at each and every event, be it cultural fest, be it technical fest, everything. So when second year came, right, so I was getting like in my first year, there are subjects like C programming or something. Like all of us have those subjects in our curriculum. So I got some good grades in those subjects. So that at that point, like in the summer vacations of first year, I got to understand, like, let's see if I explore this field a little more, what it goes like. So in that summer vacation, I tried exploring that field. Like I sat down and I thought of what exactly can be done. How can this thing help me, or like, am I really interested to do this? So I like pursued it for 30, 35, 40 days. And after that, like the journey continued. The entire third semester, fourth semester, it continued. I started building a project, started practicing questions from different sites. Like during that time, we didn't have so many resources. Like nowadays, everything is available on YouTube or multiple resources. During that time, it was just we and the website. We just need to practice. Like there were very, very limited resources. There were no videos as such. Nowadays you have a lot of resources. So just practiced on different websites on my own. Third semester, fourth semester, as soon as the fourth semester ended, so there were companies for internships, and so there was a lot of competition as well during that time. So from there on, like I would say that was the turning point, the summer vacation of first year, where I started up like choosing software engineering as a career. But again, it is not a generalized path. It can be different for each and everybody. Nowadays there are a lot of different paths. There are people who uh, think that they are not built up for coding. So there are different fields like product management, or there are fields like product design, or particularly data analyst or business analyst. So these type of fields can also be explored along with software engineering if they're particularly not interested in software engineering. So this is how like my journey went on, and I finally ended up as a software engineer.
All right. Thank you, Arsh, for that. Just, follow-up question on that only. Um, As you have a lot on your profile, and like you said, first, second, third year is the time to dabble and like understand, various things, what can be done and all. Now, with the starting profile, you have hackathon wins, you have volunteering, you also have a gold medal in BTech, right? In EC. How do you manage the time? I think like we had about 10 to 15 questions where the audience was like, if I do everything to try to figure out what I want to do finally, how do I know I'm giving adequate amount of time to each of these things? How do I know that I have given it enough time to know whether I like it or not? Because your profile has everything and you still manage to figure out at the end of it that these are the tech domains that are working out for me and this is what I want to do. So what was it going on in your mind about time management in your second, third year and all? We'd love to know that.
So yeah, like I was not concerned about time management in my first year. Like if I tell you the truth, like I was giving as much time as possible, going to events, going to clubs, going to societies. I was like not bothered about my time. I was just bothered about getting a good grade, like the mindset that we come along with from class 11th or 12th, that grades are something that our parents want to see, or like that's something that creates a social picture. So that thing I had in mind, I should get good grades. For that I can do anything. So from doing anything, that means like what happens is, like if you try, like if you're talking about CGPA, particularly about CGPA, how to manage that CGPA. So what I used to do is, like, let's say we had 3 types of examinations. One is minor 1, minor 2, and majors, like 20, 20, and 50 marks. This was the criteria that was there in our college. So whenever these minor or major exams started, so I like kept around 10 days buffer. So those 10 days were completely devoted to these minors and majors. Like basically setting the priorities right is what I would say is how can you manage these things well. So those 10 days, I didn't do anything, just studied for the exams, because I knew ki at some point of time CGPA is important for me. But like later on, I realized it's not very, very important as compared if I'm choosing software engineering as a career. But initially, I had this thing in mind. It is very, very important for me. So this is something I should not compromise at any cost. So I started up lending good like CGPA in first semester, second semester, third semester, and like once it was once I got the knack of how to prepare and how the things will go and how to manage time. So slowly and slowly, everything went on to a stage when like I used to get good CGPA at all.
Perfect. These are some short tricks where like people are looking for key. Where did Harsh speed up? And during this entire 4-year journey, for maybe getting appreciation or motivation for what work you do, whatever technologies you learn, you put it out into your community or social media platforms. So social media plays an important role here. So how much did social media accounts help you in your journey? And any specific social media handle or I mean platform to follow for internship and placement related updates? So अर्श के लिए ऐसा कौन सा प्लेटफॉर्म था which Arsh looked for, but as in now I, Shatakshi, and many others who are watching now, we look for Arsh and many other YouTubers or LinkedIn influencers, social media platforms. So what was that platform which you looked up to?
See, when I was in my second year, third year, basically in 2018, 2019, so you would see that there were no such YouTubers. Like we just had 1 or 2. We just used to see ki if somebody wants to learn dynamic programming, go and watch Tushar Roy's videos. But that was it that we had in our mind. Like there was no one else who was teaching, who was coming up. Like everything came up after this COVID pandemic when everyone was at home. So there are a lot of content creators coming up. There's a lot of content coming up, new websites coming up for different content. So during my college time, if I was to say which particular social media I followed, so there was no. I didn't watch YouTube at all. Like I was not aware of what exactly happened. Like even if you can study from YouTube, because when I was in class 11th or 12th, we didn't have this broadband internet, or Reliance Jio was also not there at that point of time. So we were accustomed to study from the books And that was it. Like I remember I didn't see anything from YouTube in my class 11th or 12th as well when I came in my college. So I was not aware that these type of things are also available on YouTube. I just realized that YouTube can be an important part when I came in my third year. When people were watching some lectures on knowledge gate or gate smashers related to operating systems and DBMS. So these were the subjects. So when I saw that this is something that can be done. So if I talk about from my entire journey, so I have just watched operating systems and DBMS particularly from YouTube. I was not aware of LinkedIn. I started using LinkedIn in my third year. I didn't use LinkedIn at all. When I was in my third year, starting of my third year, like there were very, very less people. People were not using, not even in my class, not even college students. They were not using LinkedIn as a platform. They thought of LinkedIn as something, this is not for us. This is for professionals. So what I used to do was whenever I go to a hackathon or any competition, I won something, I got a certificate. I just out of anywhere, I go and post it on LinkedIn. That was it. So that is something I was doing from the third year, starting of my third year. But at that point, I believe there was 10% of the crowd that is now on LinkedIn. Very, very less people were there on LinkedIn. Everything on LinkedIn came up after COVID. So that is what I would like to say. But if you, particularly now, there are a lot of different means. It can be LinkedIn, it can be YouTube. Being active on such platforms can help you. So yeah, these can be considered as of now.
Thank you, Arsh. I think that sums it. I think we'll start moving towards the FAANG specific questions now. So, but to begin with, there were 3 questions specifically on this that said, "Sir, kitne roadmap or kitne advice videos dekhe?" There are so many different, inputs that keep coming. As you were saying, during your time, there was barely any input. During our time, we have various people who have done it and they are giving their guidance, which I think we are so, so grateful for. But how do we streamline, what to pick up, what to not pick up? Because FAANG specifically also, some say development may be more important, some say CP may be more important. So what is your suggestion for that? Because your Instagram following, your LinkedIn following also are people who also follow 2-3 other people in a similar domain. So the content you are putting up versus the content somebody else is putting up. So how do we streamline what we are taking in that?
So yeah, this is something known as a tutorial hell, if you have heard of this term. So what happens is we are once we start watching something on YouTube, we are just accustomed to the same and just we keep on searching about the same topic. Let's say I want to see how to reverse a linked list. Right, I have seen a video on reverse a linked list. Now there are tens of videos that are teaching how to reverse a linked list. I just finished one video. I moved up onto the next video to see if there is something else in this video or not. So slowly and slowly, we get into a position this particular thing is known as a tutorial hell, that we don't come out of it. We just keep on watching here and there some random stuff. After this tutorial, then there is a video that came how to earn in college, 10 ways to earn, best 10 ways to earn in college. Then there's a video that tells us how to get into FAANG or how to get into so and so company. So this is something that basically distracts us from what exactly we are doing. So what I would advise at this point of time is don't follow a lot of people. Follow someone. Everyone is telling something out of their experience, and nobody is telling anything wrong, right? And if we talk about DSA or if we talk about development or competitive programming, all of these are important, but what works out the best for you, you can continue ahead and go in the depth of that, but don't leave anything. Let's say if you're very good at development, you're interested in development, build your profile in that field, go for GSOC, go for open source development. You will definitely land up somewhere at a very good place. If you are very interested in competitive programming, you should have some experience of development, but go ahead with competitive programming. Don't just see what he is doing or what she's doing. Similarly, what we used to say is Like there are different platforms for coding, like Lead Code is there, GFG is there, Interview Bit is there. So people move from one platform to another. Like they start with GFG, then one question, two question on GFG due to FOMO, like seeing my friend is doing Lead Code, should I move on to Lead Code? My friend is doing Interview Bit, so should I go to Interview Bit? So that is also a kind of a FOMO only, to like, I will miss out on this, I'll miss out on this. Rather than moving upon to platforms, stick to one, complete it, and after that go to somewhere else. Similar is the case for roadmaps. Try sticking to one or two people at max. Don't go for all. And like at this point, I believe like you might have watched a lot of these videos, might have watched a lot of these roadmaps. So you have a clarity in mind what exactly you need to do. What are the things that are asked in the company's interview. So rather than just watching these videos, go and practice on the platform that is actually going to help. So that would be my advice in this case.
One sentence that struck me very hard: don't listen to a lot of people, and that really matters, because everyone thinks कि कितना extract कर लूँ LinkedIn से, YouTube से, तो 1000 लोगों का सुनेंगे और फिर they'll land up mixing everything. And hence mixing roadmaps, mixing their strategies. Every person has different strategy. Arsh has different strategy. Some other YouTuber or LinkedIn influencer has some other strategy. So if people look up to one person, they should continue listening to him or following their whatever strategies or roadmaps are, because that is what is going to help them in future. Coming to the next question. Most of the companies want coding skills, and the very first interview round is about coding, right? So how do you start from scratch to crack the coding interviews? अब ये question मैंने बाकी लोगों के मुंह से बोला है, क्योंकि मैं भी जब फर्स्ट ईयर में आया था तो दिमाग में तो यही क्वेश्चन था कि फर्स्ट राउंड कौन सा होता है, कोडिंग, एंड अगर वही क्रैक नहीं हुआ तो इंटरव्यू कितना भी अच्छा बोलो, how will you present yourself in the interview if you don't crack the first round itself? So that coding round was in my mind from the start of the first year, and hence the audience as well. So what will you suggest as to उतना टेंशन लेने लायक था ये क्वेश्चन, या फिर ये स्टार्ट से ही इतना उसको ये कर दिया है कि coding, and then they prepare these 4 years just for the first round, and then they miss out on the next rounds that are going to be taken?
See, I'll try to break it into two ways. Like, let's say you have your college in which a lot of companies are coming. Like your college is in tier 1, tier 2 college. A lot of companies are coming on campus and you have a lot of opportunities, right? And at second place, you are from a college in which companies are not coming, and you will have to make everything on your own. Like you will be looking out for opportunities on your own. So in the second case, due to dearth of opportunities, you can't miss out on most of the opportunities because you have very limited set of, let's say, 10 of opportunities or 10-15 opportunities. And for freshers, getting and like losing on those opportunities might end up with something not good. But if there are a lot of companies coming on campus, right? So in that on-campus scenario, if I talk about the competition level, so it is very less as compared to if you're sitting for an off-campus placement. And if I talk about the online test also, so the level of online test that you will see in an off-campus setup, because it is conducted throughout India, like thousands of people will be sitting. Like recently there was something related to Microsoft Engage. So they got around 30,000 applications for a single program. So bifurcating those 30,000 applications, so if they'll put easy questions or if they will put something that everybody can do, so they'll not be able to shortlist people again because everybody has a good profile. Everyone has solved the questions in the exam. So they need to make the test in such a way that someone who has actually grilled, he or she should be able to cope up with things. Right? Secondly, apart from that, if I talk about on-campus thing, so in that on-campus online coding test, you just have 100, 150, 200 students from your college, and you're competing with those. So there are high chances that, let's say, if multiple companies are coming, 10 students are gone in one company, 15 are gone in another company. So in that case, your interview is what matters the most, like how well you are able to present yourself in interview. And if I talk about particularly preparation for this first, because first step is very necessary, we can't just neglect like first round will be over, because most of the students are in off campus. If I talk about, they are rejected in this online test. So this online test, how you can prepare for it is majorly in a timed setting. How can you solve 2 to 3 questions in 1.5 hours? That is what it matters. So for this, like, you need to practice a lot of questions rather than just starting out with one. And so this is what I would say, ki practice contest on Neat Code, on CodeChef, that would help you ace that first online coding round.
Okay, thank you, Arsh. So a follow-up on that, because you mentioned it as well. So now the college has a tier system that I think we have all created it, plus it has become official now. So if you are from, a third tier college, a second tier college, does that matter in these FAANG companies? How do you increase your market value if you're not from your first tier colleges? And being from a second or third tier college, how do you know you're ready for these companies when you're ready for these companies? Because your college is already in the second or third tier. How much does that matter? Just in short, if you could tell us that.
So yeah, if I talk about these tiers, right? Tier 1, tier 2 colleges. So the major difference between a tier 2, tier 3 colleges, the type of peers you have, right? If you talk about a tier 1 college, so right from the second year, you will see everyone preparing for companies, everyone preparing for interviews, and you have no option left but to prepare. Maybe it's out of FOMO, maybe it's out of peer pressure, maybe it's out of, like, you will not get a job, right? So tier 1 has that culture that all of them start preparing from second year, first year, and they have something in mind, set targets, and they finally achieve it. Companies are also coming to the campus. They have some good reputation, good alumni base. So everything is sorted. What happens in tier 3 colleges, ki first year, second year, you will see each and every one of around you just hanging out. They're not preparing. They're not doing anything. If somebody's preparing, they're mocking at him or her. So in those colleges, the culture is not developed. Like at the end moment, they will feel that if a service-based company, let's say any service-based company will be coming and will be getting placed in it. That's it. So they don't have those set goals. They don't have that culture. Basically, that culture is missing. If that culture, like let's say even a single batch from a tier 3 college performs well, right? If let's say single batch from a tier 3 college performs well, so the entire next junior batches will also look forward to, yeah, my senior got a placement in so and so company, I should also prepare. And if he starts preparing, years from his batch will also start preparing. And slowly the culture will change. And this has changed in a lot of colleges. If you talk about, there are colleges in Delhi, like there's a college known as Maharaja Agarsen in Delhi, Maharaja Surajmal in Delhi. There's a college named as JGEC in Kolkata. So different colleges, the culture has changed in this way. So like if somebody from a tier 3 college is listening, so he or she should understand, like, this culture is to be changed. It's not about ki companies won't come to a tier 3 college. You can get into those companies. There's no, like, it is you who have to be talented. You should showcase ki what you have in you. It can be your good competitive profiles. It can be your very good development skills. So even if you have any of these, like, and you're best at it, it can be either competitive programming profiles. It can be either very good development. So you will land at a place that is very, very good. So don't just worry about your tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 college. It is you, like your grilling or your, like, how much you have grinded, that is actually going to matter at the end. There is some preference by companies for tier 1 colleges because they find it easy for them to shortlist. They'll just go to NITs, IITs, they'll just conduct a test, they'll get some good candidates, that's all. If they'll go and search for candidates in tier 2, tier 3 colleges, like let's say out of 100, they'll be getting a single candidate. Maybe. That's also not sure. So it's easier for these companies to get good candidates from tier 1 colleges. That's why this whole thing is going on. But slowly this is also changing as the culture in tier 3 colleges is changing.
Right. And the live example was our own colleges, the chapters that we have tied up with. Our own colleges are tier 3 colleges, and we have seen our seniors go struggle and get those FAANG companies or around those big MNCs. So yeah, we have value for that, and of course the motivation to crack them. We talked about the first round, that was coding. but then what after that? Your profile matters as well. If a student has great projects and internship experience, will FAANG or related big MNCs consider him if he doesn't have stronghold in DSA? So this confusion of DSA CP and internship experience plus some projects, tech development projects. What is the thing?
So I would say you should have a decent level of DSA. Basically, what DSA is, it is how good you are at problem solving, right? Like if you are given a certain problem, what exactly you do in a company once you join them. So every day there is something like there's a bug, right? How can you solve that? There is a new problem or something that we have to build from scratch. How to start that? So that is where your problem solving skills come into picture. And why companies have this criteria of accessing you on problem solving is, let's say if tomorrow he or she joins us and we have so and so problem in a company, so he should be able to come up with some innovative solution or something through which we can say get out of that problem. So basically that is what problem solving skills are tested. And for most of the FAANG companies, or for most of the big tech product based companies, the criteria to take freshers is data structural algorithms or problem solving skills. So I would say around 60 to 70% of your interviews for big tech companies, if you're aiming at, would be DS algos. No issues on that, right? I've also explained why data structural algorithms, right? And if somebody who has not prepared data structural algorithm, he has very good skills in development, or he has some really awesome projects. So for that, he need to build his profile in such a way that there are very good startups nowadays. If you talk about Razorpay, if you talk about Swiggy, so they have some profiles. Let's say there's a role of a front-end engineer at Razorpay. So for that role, they don't ask data structural algorithms. You just need to be very good at JavaScript. If you have some good projects in JavaScript, if you have some good open source experience, so they are happy to take you. There are companies like Grofers who specifically mention ki we want candidates who have gone through GSOC. So they are looking out for candidates who are very good at development skills. So for them, it does not matter whether you are good at problem solving or not. But at the end, like if you aim at going into big tech companies, you will have to do DSA at any point. Like even I was talking to someone who is who has an experience of around 11 years, right? And she just switched from a company to another. Both of them are big tech companies. And I was asking, what was your criteria? Like she also grilled lead code for 3 months after 11 years of into software engineering. So you see, like problem solving is something that will go along with you in your software engineering career at all. So you can't mess up on that. Even like, if not now, you will have to do it after 3 years or 5 years. So better do it now.
All right, thank you, Arsh. I think we really needed to know that after 11 years, if we still have to get back to problem solving, might as well start now.
Yeah.
All right, so I think you touched upon this just a bit. So do you think there are companies with the potential to replace FAANG or even come up to the level that we should be personally on a lookout for? Because this craze of FAANG is absolutely there, but now we start hearing about these startups as well, or these smaller companies that are taking, proper value to the market as well. Because obviously there are other supportive companies without which FAANG would not exist as well. So what do you think about this craze of FAANG and everything, and what we as students should be looking out for placements?
See, if I talk about nowadays, so there are a lot of companies who are paying a lot more than FAANG, right? It's not just what FAANG is paying. There are a lot of companies which are paying even better than FAANG, and they have better work culture than FAANG. This is true. So if you talk about, like, let me give you an example of Meesho, right? Meesho is a startup. So first thing is, like, why these startups are giving all this, why they're paying a lot more, why they're giving good work culture? Because they want good engineers. They're at the start of their journey of technology, right? And if they don't have, like, how will they get good candidates? Everyone who is good at tech would like to go to Google, Microsoft, or so and so company. So they'll not come to startups, right? So startups will have to create that culture key people should come to them. And nowadays they are doing that. Like if I talk about Atlassian, if I talk about Misho, so what happens in them is, first of all, their compensation is way higher than what FAANG is paying. Secondly, they have provided with a lot of benefits. They have made work from anywhere, like Misho and Atlassian and a lot of other companies. They have made it possible ki you can go and work from anywhere, your home, any hill station, anywhere, go and work from there. Thirdly, like they said that we'll be meeting after like 4 times a year, and like that will be an office party. It can be in Goa, it can be anywhere. So like these kind of perks they are giving. Along with that, the type of tech you will be working upon in these companies is a little better as compared to FAANG. For example, if I talk about in FAANG, so you might be working upon some proprietary system, like let's say the tech that they have been using it from so long. But in startups, generally what happens is you will be working on multiple technologies. If it can be, you might be doing some work related to front end. In front end also, you might be working on some multiple domains. But in a big tech company, like you are a little relaxed, is what I would say. But slowly and slowly, if I talk about people have, like I have seen a lot of people who have left big tech companies and have joined startups, not just because they are paying well, but because of their culture and the additional perks and benefits that they offer. And slowly, this culture is going to be there. Like as you see, like last year we had around 34 unicorns. So these 34 unicorns have money now, right? And they want to build, they want to come up with multiple things. So they are ready to spend, they are ready to, but the one thing that they want is the best people, so that they can lay a very strong foundation. So why not give the best perks, best compensation, everything that an engineer who is going to join a FAANG company should join us. So a lot of options are available nowadays. So I would say ki there is a lot of boom, a lot of hiring is going on. Each and every company is just looking out for candidates. The one thing that they want is skilled candidates. And if you can develop your skills, nobody can stop you from any company, anywhere, any compensation. You can't just imagine the type of compensations people are getting nowadays. So yeah, I think this would answer it.
One point that you mentioned, फंडिंग वाला कि यार स्टार्टअप्स के बाद स्टार्ट में बहुत पैसे तो आ गए, फंड्स मिल गए, तो व्हाट पीपल थिंक इज कि इतने ज्यादा फंड्स मिले तो इंजीनियर्स पे उड़ा रहे हैं. तो दिस थॉट वाज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट बिकॉज़ स्टार्टअप्स वांट द बेस्ट टीम in the beginning so that these gems stay permanently till the end of their journey, and hence the pay is high. Also would like to add a few points as well. Chota hu aapse, but then whatever I have got through these startups companies hiring is FAANG companies mein privacy ya fir your creativity gets blocked, and privacy is too sorted at their company officials or authorities end. But in startups, the entire system is in your hands. You can play with it, you can break it, you can make it, and the creativity lies within you. So if you come up with anything creative, amazing, and super lastive, so the startup team would take you to more heights, but then these FAANG companies won't. So your creativity and your pay as well in those terms, monetary basis.
That's for sure. Like that's a very good example. Like if you talk about in big tech companies, for every documentation that you want to access, you'll have to access for permission from someone or the else, right? If somebody will approve that permission, then only you will get. In startups and also in FAANG companies, like there are a lot of levels, right? You have your immediate manager, that manager has his own manager, then another manager, then lead manager, then so and so engineer. So there are around 6 to 7 levels of engineers, and you are at the last level. You're just joined as a fresher. Whereas in a startup, what happens is you have access to the CEO or the founder directly, right? In most cases, not all, but you have the access to those lead engineers, those principal engineers, those tech lead or software architect with whom you can discuss what you exactly feel like working in the company. So that gives you more freedom to express yourself. And like if there's anything that comes up within you, like I have some of my friends who are working in a startup. They just gave up an idea and now they're working on that idea, particularly within that startup. So,
Okay.
so that is the kind of freedom that you get while working in a startup. But anyways, like both have their own pros and cons. So it is the person who is a better like who is better able to decide what to choose from and how to choose from. Like he can get to those pros and cons and finally decide upon what is better for him or her.
Yes, definitely. We talked about companies and startups, but government comes into picture when you get to work with the government. And here comes your achievement, one of those achievements, that was ISRO. So what is the kind of expectations of ISRO from engineers or tech people and working environments over there? Any tips to get an interview over there, maybe through your reference or someone else's reference, or what was your journey from aiming that I'll be one day I'll be at ISRO and stepping out that day from ISRO?
Yeah. So if I talk about ISRO, like this question has been asked to me a lot of times. So if you have heard of this term known as cold emailing, right? So ISRO was through cold emailing. So there was no thing like there's an opening on their website. I just went on and applied or something of that sort. Like you don't see openings for such internships on their website or anywhere. So what I did was I was in my third year. I got an internship already. I was just exploring on different things. Like I didn't have any clue what should I prepare. Like everything was okay. Like I've done some amount of data structure algorithms. Some projects are also there. I was just exploring on to things, what can be done. So I just out of like I had some projects in Python, ML or so. Like I had that background at that particular point. I was exploring ML. Like I explored it for 4-7 months at that. So after that, I just thought of getting an internship in ML or Python or where I can contribute to like what I've gained in Python or ML. So I just thought of why not try an ISRO? Like I just took out some email IDs of computer scientists who are working working in ISRO, right? So there are people at different levels in ISRO. There's somebody known as computer scientist, then there's chief computer scientist or something. So I just got down some of the email IDs. I prepared a draft along with my resume attached, and I wrote down how I can contribute to their organization, what all skills I have, and how can that project be a good cold email, right? So I forwarded it to around 7-10 people. It was all of them were working at ISRO. They were computer scientists or somebody at another position. I luckily got a reply from one. We had a good conversation on what my projects are, what I'm currently doing from NIT Jalandhar. So okay, so we had 1 or 2 telephonic conversations, and he told that what would you like to work upon, which domain would you like to work upon. So I was exploring Python, machine learning, and so on. He gave me choice, you can work on Java also. We have some projects in Java, we have some projects in Python, machine learning also. So I chose Python, machine learning. So he said that we'll take 1 or 2 interviews, and I said okay. So just went for those interviews. Questions were related to projects, my vision, my Python in general, machine learning, some algorithms. So that was the general interviews based upon, I would say it was a more of a machine learning based interview or a Python based interview. So that was it for that interviews. And after those interviews were cleared, I got an internship there. So a mentor was assigned to me. I used to interact with that mentor on weekends. He used to a project was assigned to me in the beginning, and the project was related to neural networks. That there's something known as generative adversarial networks. So it's a part of deep learning. When we get on to machine learning, then deep learning, then there's something known as neural networks. There are different types of neural networks. So there's one kind of neural network, that is GANs. So I was to work upon that. I was not aware of that. That was totally new to me when I started up. So just explored upon, and very less content was available at that time for that particular algorithm. So just looked on here and there. Some research paper I had to read to understand that. And finally came the project was completed in 2 months, had multiple interactions with the mentor who was assigned from there, built up something that will actually be used by ISRO sometime, like once they complete that particular, like I was a part of one specific thing that they were going to do in a project. Like that was basically calculating the crop insurance of farmers after taking satellite pictures by ISRO. Like the project was something related to that. So that actually would have created an impact somewhere, or that might have been used by ISRO somewhere or another. So that was my experience. Overall, it was a good experience, I would say. So like I was just trying out things, and this came up, and I went for it. Yeah.
Just adding a short question, I was curious about it. Why didn't you continue ISRO?
Like I was in my college year at that time. I was in my third year. So I had, first of all, it was not allowed for me, like internship in between was not allowed. So that I just went out of you, took permissions from college authorities. That was a very difficult task. Like they were not giving permissions. They were saying that you had your college exams also, how you'll be able to manage. So I did this internship after my fifth semester exams were over. Right. So after that I did, and I continued, like I took some break from the first few weeks of the next semester. So that's how I completed this. But that was again a very, very problematic task. Like the colleges generally don't allow such things. Like if I talk about my college, so but how this is how things went. Like I do have good relations with my mentor, my manager, whom I have worked with. He we used to have conversations, but after that, like I went on to pursue my internship in corporates, and the journey has been going on till now. Let's say if in future sometime somehow I believe or I wish to work there, so we'll see how is that possible and what are the prospects of that.
That sounds amazing. Okay, just cutting it in the middle. There are a lot of people on our live audience. There's a lot of facts are so true. Let's go. Hi, Bhaiya. Hello, sir. There's a lot of these things coming in. 1-2 questions that they've asked, we've covered that as well. So we'll be wrapping up soon. There is one question that says, so many people seem to have found their dream job soon after graduation. You yourself have a YouTube channel where there are a lot of videos that go up so regularly. It means that you are really interested in it. With respect to this, even if like somebody ends up in a FAANG company or not, what if they regret that decision? What if, and this is quote unquote, the person says, what if I don't love where I end up? So what is your take on this?
See, I have a lot of my friends. I have a lot of people whom I know. They're very good at competitive programming. They have cleared almost every interview they sat for. They went into the company, but they're they don't think that they are built out for something like that. Like they feel that they can try it for 1 or 2 years, 3 years, let's say, but they'll have to look out for something else. There are some people like that. There are some people who are like, once you are a fresher and you get into a company, it's not upon you on what to choose, like which tech stack to use. Generally, you are assigned a tech stack by the company, right? And let's say if it's not possible for everyone to love or like every tech stack, right? So he or she might end up maybe switching jobs or maybe shifting teams internally. This can be another option. If you feel like you are not a part of this ecosystem, you don't like to work in this sort, there are multiple options available. First is, like I talked about, switching, right? So this is very, very common. People move from one company to another. It can be due to compensation, it can be due to work culture, it can be due to tech stack, a lot of other things. Secondly, they can switch internally. Like if you are in a company, you can just talk to your HR, like you're not liking the work or you're not accustomed to the work here at this company, and what are the possibilities that you can move on to another team, or you can talk to your manager related to that. So that things can be sorted in this way. Secondly, people go for different roles. If not software engineering within the company, let's say you stay for 1.5 years or 2 years, there are options that you can switch on to another roles. I have people who have shifted from software engineering to product because they're more interested in product internally within the company. There's another option going for MS MBA. Like it is up to them. They can go for research opportunities in India and abroad. also they can go for MBAs. Like many of the people I have seen who were working in FAANG companies, who have left their jobs after a year or two, and they went on for MBAs from those premium colleges. So it's your journey. You will have to figure out, and it's not the same for everyone. So keep these options in mind and take your decision what it calls for you, because exactly you should be doing what you love, right? So then only you will be able to put your full potential. It can be a startup as well if you have that mindset, if you have that ability, or if you have shown that experience. It can be a startup. You can work for a startup, or you can build your own startup with a group of friends. So it depends upon situations, it depends upon you, and it's totally different from for everyone. Like everyone has his or her own story.
Perfect. Yeah, you are audible perfectly. So you said you have friends who do like who are great at CP and still feel that they were not made for maybe those big MNCs or whatever. And similar situation, I have tried and tested myself and asked a senior who has cracked the toughest placement of my college up till now, up till entire generations batches, whatever we have had in PICT. And frankly, I asked him, do you really enjoy at your company, whatever work you do? And he openly said, नहीं यार मतलब ये कितना कर करके कितना मतलब at the end you need something not for money, not for what the tech fad is, what the tech challenges you crack, but at the end what you love the most, as in you said startup or creative solutions to what problems are put up. So this is what matters. And इसमें बात आती है कि यार आपका नेटवर्क कैसा हो, आपका एनवायरनमेंट कैसा हो, एंड इससे बाहर निकालने वाले लोग भी जरूरी है. एज इन वी हैव केप्ट दिस सेशन, तो अर्श विल हेल्प आवर ऑडियंस. तो ऑडियंस के साथ भले यूट्यूब पे देख रहे हैं लोग, बट दैट नेटवर्क इज बिल्ड कि यार नहीं, indirectly we look up to us for whatever guidance we need, whatever he sees, and that matters. How does networking play a role in respect to someone's career, and tips on effectively doing it? This is the most asked question for each and every speaker by any general audience person. And personally what I feel is वो तुम पे है. मतलब a simple answer to it कि नेटवर्क बनाना है तो कैसे बनाना, अप्रोच करो सीधा पर्सन को और बना लो यार. मतलब तुम what value you can provide to that person, and then expect what value the person in front of you can bring to you. But apart from this, specifically talking about tech environment, how did you start, and how did you tackle those personalities, as in you mentioned about the cold mailing? How did you get those mails? या फिर who were those friends or mentors who said कि यार नहीं इनको cold mailing से approach करो? या फिर the manager bond you had, not only professionally, but he did understand you, what you went through your college life, and hence helped you. So this network matters not only from a professional perspective, but as well your personal life, where you sort it out your growth life, and you get value out of that.
Yeah. So like I just wanted to go back to the previous question. I had something to add. So you're talking about a senior who was into competitive programming, and like now like he felt that he's not built up for software engineering. Similar is the case. Like we just study physics, chemistry, maths for our JE, for our IIT JE to prepare for those, and we'll end up in engineering. And after that, we feel there are a lot of people who feel that they're not built up for engineering. So the same example you can take it there also. The criteria for getting into something is different, and what you're exactly doing in that thing is a little different. So there can be variations, and it's totally okay. Like it's not the end of the world. There are a lot of different options. People who come to engineering college, they go for design. Like throughout their engineering life, they don't study engineering, they are just interested in design. So you will have to figure out, it can be a startup, it can be anything. Coming on to your second question, networking. So how networking helps, or how I started up with networking. So yeah, this is like, first of all, if you feel that you're not getting opportunities, or if you feel that you are just left out, so this networking can help. Like if I today, if I show you my LinkedIn, or if I show you my any of these social media, so I do get a lot of mails from recruiters every day for joining them for this role, for this role, for this role. A lot of startup founders I have talked to, and like they just need some like particular position is there in their company for a role that I am suitable for. Also, like if I want to, like I have talked to a lot of startup people, and like yesterday also I was talking to somebody who was building something, and they just wanted me to step in as a part of their startup. So all this is a result of what? Networking, better networking. Going to events like these, or talking to multiple people. Like due to this pandemic, the things have been a little different, but what offline events used to give was you talk to multiple people. Like last to last week I was in an offline event at Kolkata. So I talked to a lot of people there. There were people from Jadavpur University, people from NIT Durgapur, and some colleges in and around Kolkata. So the type of things, like from there, like a lot of people had multiple questions. They talked to me, multiple guests that were there. I talked to multiple guests. So now that network that we take along with us from those events, how we can leverage that network is up to us. We can use that network for opportunities. We can use that network for learning. We can use that network for switching. We can use that network for exploring a new domain. So it's totally up to us. If I talk about how I started, so I like if I talk about my college, so there was no culture as such, like where people were very good at networking, and I don't feel like there were people like my seniors were even using LinkedIn during my college. So there was nobody as such who guided, but slowly and slowly seeing others on how we can utilize these social media platforms, or how LinkedIn can help us to better network with people. And one or two incidents of such kind happened, like people approached on LinkedIn. Then I thought of, yeah, if he has approached me like this, why can't I approach somebody of this sort? So learning from people, and slowly it all went up. So it's just the start that is important. So what I would suggest to you is, without thinking, don't just think on this much ki how should I start, what content should I put on LinkedIn, right? Content creation on LinkedIn is also, like, people have taken it as a full-time job now. So how can you start putting up content? People just keep on thinking, yaar, what will people think if I put out something on LinkedIn? What will people think if I write down this message? So don't just think, start with anything. Slowly and gradually everything is going to be online, maybe a year later, or 1 year earlier. So but at the end you will be at a position where you should actually be. So definitely this networking helps a lot, and I would recommend each and every one of you to be active on platforms like these LinkedIn and so that you can connect with like-minded people and learn from them. Multiple things you will experience once you are on these platforms.
Yeah, right. So अब थोड़ा सा इसमें specific जा रहा हूँ मैं. I'll be asking your experience, one of those experience where you got on to that person you were aiming for, यार इसके साथ network बन जाए, and what was that plan of action, what value you did provide to that person. But इसके पहले I'll share my experience. मतलब Shatakshi was curious about knowing how did I connect with you. So in short, for the audience and Shatakshi as well, the Telegram live that Arsh does, I used to join that, and I just suggested him, as in, you Arsh, you put up opportunities, you put up all these internships, jobs. So why not we make an entire system where we daily or maybe time to time update that and provide that to the audience. Maybe not only you, we'll combine all the main YouTubers, LinkedIn influencers that post similar content and have similar ideology. And we had a chat about that. And in short, this is the value that I added in Arsh's life. So not flexing, but this can be the start, right? Your network begins where you can provide value to the person in front of you and who you wish to network with. Over to you, Arsh. Curious to listen your experience as well with such such an amazing personality of your life, who you aimed at.
Like, see, I am very new. Like, I was very new to YouTube until last year. I didn't even know कि यार ये comedians हैं YouTube पे या ये लोग tech का content बना रहे हैं. I just went on to see कि यार चल रहा है कुछ. मतलब मैंने अपना start किया. I just put out 1 or 2 videos. They went well, and I started up with things like people started recognizing ऐसे करके it all started. So there was a point like. Due to this YouTube and due to this networking and audience and everything, so a lot of different brands come and approach you, go on their platform, teach their brand integrations and a lot of things, right? So and I didn't have any connections with any of the YouTube people at that particular point of time, but once like I was onboarded by that platform, so out of nowhere I received like, now I'm connected with, if I talk about all the YouTubers in the tech domain, if the similar space, if you talk about software engineering, so like we do have a group of ourselves where we talk about content, we talk about everything, right? So how that came in, like it was just out of a discussion related to some of the things that a particular like initiative that I was taking. Like there was an initiative that I took that was related to 6 companies, 30 days, something of that sort, in January this year. So a lot of like around 40-50 colleges participated in that, and I had around 2,000 people who came up with the challenge. They solved around a lot of questions in the particular stipulated time. So I was approached by these brands also. What are you doing? What exactly is this? How can we contribute in this? I was being approached by many people from industry also. Okay, what exactly is this? What are you doing? Why you are doing? So like I would not name anyone, but multiple people who have been in my journey, who have guided me, who have taught me how things should go, like, and they are very big in this YouTube space. So this is how things will help you. Like it's you who have to start. So that start point is very, very important, right?
Thank you so much, Arsh, for that. All right, we'll be wrapping up. So, Arsh, as your last and final question, do you think you have something to give for our audience today that you have not already put up on your YouTube or LinkedIn or Telegram accounts? Anything our audience can go back to, a piece of advice or, some personal anecdote, anything?
See, it's very hard to find out content, although there is content crisis going on everywhere. Like even if we discuss with other YouTubers, everyone is looking out for different types of content. यार यहाँ से content मिल जाए, यहाँ से कुछ मिल जाए. This is the topic to be explored. I also keep on asking people कि यार ये चीज रहती है, ये चीज नहीं रहती है. But yeah, like overall advice at this point of time would be कि just don't think out like. Being in FOMO is something that can hinder your growth in any particular prospect. Like if you are interested in something, don't just go around and do what everyone is doing. So that is something that people, a lot of time I see people do. Like there's a culture of software engineering. People are getting good packages, people are getting good jobs, and at the end, everyone lands up, even if he's from mechanical. We don't have good mechanical engineers nowadays. Right? Why? Because all the good mechanical, like you will see people in mechanical engineering are not getting those packages that software engineering companies are giving. So anybody who is hardworking or anybody who is concerned about his future, so he will not go into core mechanical. He will just get out into a software engineering company, even if he's getting a service-based company. He just wants to get into IT.
Yeah.
So it's your call. like even if you are very good at mechanical, there will be a point when you will be earning the same as what software engineering are earning. So go by that call that is there in your mind. And it's not just that software engineering is the only career that is left for you, although I'm speaking here for FAANG, on the behalf of FAANG, what all things you need to do. But I am saying this, it's not just software engineering, but a lot of different fields to explore. Take a call, think what you like, and just go ahead with that. And definitely, if you perform in that particular sector or in that particular field, you're definitely going to be the best, outperform everyone, and able to achieve what you actually desire. Every field has the same potential, same scope, same growth. Don't worry about it. Just take that call and be calm. This would be my final advice.
That's amazing. Excuse me. That's amazing to hear, Arsh. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you so
All
much.
right, folks, everybody watching, everybody who will be watching later as well, thank you so much for tuning in. That was Arsh Goyal for you, Senior Software Engineer at Samsung, ex-CodeChef, ex-ISRO, Gold Medalist, NIT Jalandhar. 60K plus subscribers on YouTube and 79K plus followers on LinkedIn, making huge impacts. It is Arsh Goyal, everyone. Thank you so much, Arsh, for joining in today and for the service you've been doing in general. We all personally follow you. We love your posts. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Satakshi. Thank you so much. And all the best for your events. Bye bye, guys.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Arsh.
Thank you so much.
No mercy for you, no worries for you. That Game of Thrones, go Cersei on you. I flipped the script, I roll the dice. Don't fall asleep, cause I'm working nights. Hey, you trying to shut me out, it's getting blatant. Hey, I come and see you now, no hesitation. Yeah, I'm really, really tired of being patient. Hey, if you won't give it to me, I'ma take it. Take it. If you won't give it to me, I'ma take it.